Good morning. I call to order this regular meeting of the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission for January 17th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Hannigan, can you please call the roll?
Commissioner Matthew Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Susanna Ballard. Here. Commissioner Joan DeZuro.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Lair.
Here.
Commissioner Tiffany Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Lonnie Stevenson.
Here.
Commissioner J.P. Thornton.
Here.
Commissioner Jim Harris. Vice Chair Medley.
Here.
Chair David Diaz.
Here. All right, thank you. Seeing we need one person, Mr. Thornton, would you please come up, please, and take your place at the dais? Sign in, please. All right, Mr. Gilbert, any correspondence and announcements, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the last City Council meeting, they approved the text amendments that were before you in December, the 5 minor ones adjusting various edits and such in the development code. That was approved by Council unanimously. Coming up, Council in February will be looking, and that's February because at the January 23rd Council meeting, we're going to, myself, the mayor, and a few other individuals in the city will be in Phoenix for a water conservation conference. So the items will be on the first meeting of February for Council, and that's going to be significant changes, subdivision text amendments, corrugated metal siding discussion item for them to give some direction back to staff and later to we'll return it to the Planning Commission for review, what to do with that. And then finally, the 700 London Bridge Road, which was approved by the Planning Commission's last meeting, that will also be on their agenda for their first meeting of February. And that's all I have at the moment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Well, we all received the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any deletions or additions or corrections? I see none. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Wilson made a motion.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ballard. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, we're ready to vote.
The motion passes 7-0.
All right, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing and there is a structured order to the process. City staff will present each item. There will be time for the commission to ask questions of the staff and the applicant will have an opportunity to present their case to the commission. Once that is completed, we will open a public hearing to give community members an opportunity to ask questions or provide input. I ask that people who want to speak, please limit their trips to the microphone to once per item and keep the comments to less than 5 minutes. Please stay on point and refrain from discussing subject matter not pertinent to the item being considered. There will be an opportunity for the public to address the commission about other topics later in the meeting. After public testimony is taken, I will close the public hearing, and bring the item back to the table for the city staff's recommendation. Further discussion amongst the commissioners, and a motion to either approve or disapprove. And we ask that you please follow this protocol for the meeting. All right, today's first item is ID number 244094, a request for approval of a general development plan for a 10.26 acre multi-structure commercial development zone, general commercial district plan development at 6701 Highway 95. Mr. Gilbert, your presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with just the general location. I'll go into the history, which is substantial. The general location, as mentioned, 6701 Highway 95 North. It is the triangular shape, kind of like a right triangle shaped parcel on the west side of Highway 95, just past the last traffic light as you're headed north out of town. The end of the Lake Havasu City Airport runway is directly across from this property across the highway to the east. Going over some of the background, in 1997, ordinance number 97-522, which was the original ordinance establishing the development for the airport, what would become the airport center, zoned this particular piece A1 and C0 under that original ordinance. In 2002, and the reason I don't have more details on that is because that was superseded by ordinance number 02687 in 2002, which, and I'm going to go to a quick plan here since we're talking about it before we get back to the rest. This was the general development plan that was approved for the center in that ordinance in 2002. And the highlighted portion in yellow is that very north piece is listed there as commercial node C. So that particular ordinance required a general development plan to be submitted for approval before any phase the airport center develops, of which this parcel was a part. That same ordinance established the C2 PD zoning on the parcel, which is what exists today there. And now I'll go back to the zoning right here. So that 2002 original zoning exists, but that ordinance also required before any development happens that a development plan be submitted. So technically, this is not a true development plan. This was just an overall prospective layout for the development without specific details, as you can see, because it was just this one sheet. It is important to note on here for what the developer intends to do, and if you look at the highlighted commercial node C text, it's kind of hard to read, and I apologize, but it does state reference to a convenience store, gas station type allowance there. And that's important because that will be in the concept plan I'm going to show you here in a minute. And so back to the zoning. To the west, everything is state or federal owned. To the east, everything is the airport property and also state federal land. It's all zoned A-B, agricultural preservation. There's no residential development for a long distance to the west. To the south, it's all commercial development related to the airport center. Let's see here if I can get more detail, which is storage units, commercial properties, so on. Below the bottom of this aerial photo would be the Walmart. So we're considerably north of all the development that's already out there in what's essentially today vacant land. So I want to address a couple of other issues here. The concept plan, which you see here, it's turned 90 degrees, so north would be to the left. The concept plan contemplates a hotel motel, and you can see that kind of in the center of the drawing on the bottom end. Contemplates a convenience store gas station, which would be in the upper right of this particular map, or the southeast corner if it was oriented north-south. And then there contemplates also 5 restaurants, each one with a prospective drive-through that would accompany it. And then, of course, all the parking, RV parking, that would be necessary to serve all these uses. Regarding comments received from other departments, agencies, the Arizona Department of Transportation has requested a traffic impact analysis if the project moves forward, and they would use that to determine what would be necessary to serve the project, since the last traffic light is at the upper right on this general development plan drawing. And the project is already prospectively looking at a right-in, right-out initially. Whether ADOT comes up with a request for another or requirement for another traffic light, we don't know. That's why the traffic impact analysis will be important. And the Public Works Department has basically said as much that Their comments will be addressed as part of the design review process, including city requirements stemming from the TIA study once provided and reviewed. The fire department requires fire flow and water supply requirements for the project being met, as well as hydrant spacing and fire apparatus access road standards. And finally, Unisource has various existing overhead and buried power lines that cross the property, and they just want the developer to be aware where those are and plan around them in the detailed planning that will come with the design review process. All the review agencies approved with comments, so there were no denials from any of the agencies. General land use designation conformity, the quote-unquote commercial mixed use, quote-unquote, future land use designation allows many primary uses related to retail shopping and services, such as health facilities, nightclubs, studios, artisan shops, grocery retail, restaurants, banks, medical office, hospital clinics, veterinary clinics, parking facilities, storage facility, and personal services. Secondary uses include high-density residential and accessory structures. All the proposed uses are consistent with the general intent of that land use category, and then there are some other specific components of the general plan that are listed out in the staff report that support the proposed general plan for this project. The next item I want to go over is specific relief requested from the C2 district standards, which is the underlying zoning. The hotel motel component of the project with a 25-foot height limit in C2 is not sufficient for a 3-story hotel building. The applicant requests that deviation from the following specific standard be included in any recommendation regarding or future ordinance approving a general development plan. That the ordinance, of course, be at the council level. And that's section 14.02.05.d.1, table 2-20. And that's the height exception to allow for a total height of 42 feet, subject to any existing navigation easements across the airspace above the property due to proximity to the airport runway. And we have sent and made contact with the FAA on that to get and the airport to get response. And of course, any FAA navigation easement requirements would be met as part of that project. In conclusion, the proposed general development plan is in conformance with the existing zoning classification and the goals and policies of the city's general development plan. This general development plan submittal was also required by and is consistent with the intent of ordinance number 02-687 passed by the Lake Havasu City Council on September 10, 2002. This item is tentatively scheduled to be heard by City Council at its February 27, 2024 meeting. And Mr. Chairman, I'll go over the recommendations following answering any question you may have and hearing from the public. And
I have one quick question. So on looking at this picture here, like what does this indicate in the very little point in the like an end of the? It looks like a
at the very bottom to the bottom right.
Yes, left.
That is a detention basin.
Left. The left.
Oh, bottom left. That's a small little park area.
Okay.
The land is pretty useless due to the nature of the shape of it.
And just to get it on the record, is this the property that was, or the land that was at one point a Unisource and U-Haul was trying to get rezoned to strictly commercial and?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, just wanted to, okay. All right, thank you. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Lair?
Is the 42 feet measured from the building pad or from benchmark out in the roadway?
The 42 feet would be from the benchmark pad. The land does slope a little bit, and we typically measure the building height based upon the certified grade.
Okay, so it would be the building pad? Is that what you said, or would it be?
I mean, there is a difference, few inches, but it's right.
All right, thanks.
But the 42 feet would be measured from, because usually we ask for a pad certification, but we could also measure the height using the finished floor if we need to. Okay. That's compliant with that.
Any other questions from any commissioners? Okay, seeing none, is anyone from the public here like to address the commission on this? Or, I'm sorry, is the applicant ready here to talk? Please state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
Good morning, Rob Sampson with Selberg Associates, SAMPSON. Thank you for gathering this morning to hear this item. We appreciate the audience. This project here has been in discussion for, I'd say, a year and a half to 2 years. We met with various departments in the city originally, including Mr. Knutson and Mayor Sheehy. The idea from the developer was to see what uses were used. This was fresh off the denial for the U-Haul, which, thank you for that, by the way. But this is something that we took a lot of pride in laying this out and trying to find uses that were compatible with what the city would need, knowing that there's a lot of growth to the north within the city and also within Mojave County. There was some underserved areas. If you've ever been at the mall and looked for some place to eat quickly, you have two options. 3, Hangar 24. But there was an idea that this could serve an underserved area, especially with the amount of houses coming in. We just thought this was a really good choice. There is not a hotel anywhere near this area, at least not one not one. So we looked at a couple different uses, and this was kind of what we all settled on. One thing that was very important to the city staff was that there would be a park or some kind of a walking path or something where we can do some design that would be very welcoming. You have the welcome to Lake Havasu sign, and then this park occurs. And what we wanted to do was be friendly to the city and make a place where essentially when people come in, like, wow, we're getting to the oasis that is Lake Havasu. This is where people spend their tax dollars and their vacation time, and we certainly want to make sure that they feel welcomed. So that was part of the park area that we talked about. As far as the lighting design and so on, we haven't come up with any of those. A lot of the lighting designs will be brand specific depending on what chain wants to take the restaurants. These pads were designed for the worst case, which essentially would be a drive-through restaurant, but they may be, it could be a sit-down restaurant. It could be, a fusion type of restaurant. But the idea was that we would design for the worst case, so that way Planning Commission would have the opportunity to see, the worst case of the uses that were there. The hotel was something that was added in. There was debate on whether it would be maybe an apartment complex or maybe it would be a hotel. The idea right now is to get it approved as a hotel, and we may revisit that with Planning Commission at a later date if a hotel isn't found to go on that property. As far as the height restriction, I agree with Commissioner Lair. I understand that, using the way the city's bylaws are written right now, or the code is written, we could make a 75-foot building with the slope on this property going to the center line of the street. We're totally fine with being at 42 above the measured graded pad area. That would be acceptable. Right now, there is a couple of hotels chains that have expressed minor amounts of interest in this, so we'll see where that goes. Other than that, we stand for any questions, and we're excited to hear your opinions and thoughts of this plan.
Yeah. Any commissioners have questions for the applicant? Okay. Oh, Vice Chair Medley.
When you're talking about putting a hotel on there, what kind of water system is it? Are you in the city?
It is city water, yes.
So that would be another water system.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone from the public now, which is now the public comment section, anyone from the public like to address the commission on this item? Anyone? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment section. And Mr. Gilbert, your recommendation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to revisit Mr. Lair's question from earlier because I didn't fully understand what he was getting at. But yeah, the request as it was made to me was that it would be specific to the hotel based on its location on the site, not based on the higher elevation of the roadway. So the correct answer would be it's site specific. As far as recommendations, staff recommends the Planning Commission recommend approval of item number 244094, the general development plan submitted by 38 Olympic Hills LLC for a 10.26 acre parcel property located 6701 Highway 95 North with the following conditions. Number 1, all requirements and comments provided by the Lake Havasu City Public Works Department, Fire Department, the Arizona Department of Transportation, and the various utility providers that will service the developments depicted on the general development plans shall be satisfied during the design review process. Number 2, the development conducted on the site shall be in substantial compliance with the general development plan at all times. Minor changes necessary to meet utility company, ADOT, or city public works engineering requirements shall not be considered as substantial changes. Eliminating drive-through lanes for any of the proposed restaurants shall also not be considered a substantial change. Condition number 3, maximum height for the proposed hotel shown on the general development plan shall be set at 42 feet, subject to any existing navigation easements across the airspace above the property due to the proximity of the airport runway. And Mr. Chairman, that completes my recommendation.
Okay, does the applicant understand the staff's recommendation? You have make any comment on that?
Feel the recommendations are very fair, so we're acceptable to all of them.
Thank you. Okay, is there any further discussion from any of the commissioners on this? Okay, seeing none, we are ready to vote. Ms. Hennigan? I'm sorry. We do need a motion. Is there a motion from the commissioners to vote?
No.
Commissioner DeZuro?
I make a motion that we move to recommend to the City Council approval of item number 244094, the general development plan submitted by 38 Olympic Hills LLC for a 10.26 acre parcel of property located at 6701 Highway 95 North with staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner DeZuro
A second.
and a second by Commissioner Ballard. Any further discussion? Okay, now we're ready to vote.
The motion passes 7-0.
All right, good luck to you. All right, that's the final item on the agenda, so now we're going to open it to the public. This is a call to the public. This is a opportunity for the public to address the commission about a topic not on today's agenda. We're unable to respond directly or have a two-way conversation. If you would like to speak, please approach the podium and spell your last name for the record and keep your comments under 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Emiliano Torres, T as in Tom, O-R-R-E-S. I'm a resident. A few weeks ago, our city manager had a nice meeting with our Foothills HOA. I didn't hear the meeting. It was on a Zoom session. I wasn't able to participate. But as a result of that meeting, there are folks up in the Foothills that are planning their picnic under the gazebo after their game at the pickleball court from the snacks they bought at the convenience store. And there's some other folks that are not appreciative of the noise, the noise, the traffic, and in general, who will be paying for this facility. So I was hoping Mr. Knutson was here, but he's not. And maybe he doesn't appear at these meetings, but didn't want to speak without him, but I think it needs to be discussed. There's a park being talked about by a lot of folks in the Foothills, and there's a lot of misunderstanding as to what the commitments are from the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address the commission? Call to the public? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the call to the public and bring it back to staff for any upcoming meetings. Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission will be Wednesday, February 7th, 2024 at 9 a.m. And we do have, I believe we have items scheduled. I tentatively, yes, okay. I don't know what they are exactly to relay, but we do have pretty regular stuff coming up, and it moves from time to time. We have to shift stuff, so I apologize on that. Okay. But we still have a preliminary plat approval lingering out there that has been bumped several times. I think that'll be on the next agenda. So,
okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, seeing no more business, I'm going to close the meeting. Meeting is adjourned.